Before the world was mapped in textbooks and classrooms, before childhood was understood as a sacred season of growth, there was a time, quiet, reverent, and ruled by tradition. In the year 1423, parenting was not taught, it was inherited, passed down through generations like a whispered prayer. The Bible was the guiding star, though many could not read its pages. Instead, they followed the rhythms of faith, the doctrines of the church, and the weight of moral expectation. Children were not seen as separate beings with unique needs. They were expected to mirror adults, small hands doing big work, small voices echoing obedience. Yet even in those rigid days, stories found their way into the hearts of the young. Around fires, beneath moonlit skies, tales were told. Songs were sung, rhymes were recited. Oral storytelling was the lifeblood of childhood, free, accessible, and shared by all. Books existed, yes, but they were rare, fragile, and often worn thin by eager fingers. Much of that early literature has vanished, lost to time and use. Then, in 1439, the silence was broken by the rhythm of invention. Johannes Gutenberg, a German craftsman, gave the world the printing press, a machine of ink and metal that changed everything. Words could now be multiplied, quickly, clearly, and affordably. Knowledge once locked away began to flow freely. By the time Gutenberg passed in 1468, presses were alive across Europe. Over 15 million books had been printed. Ideas traveled, literacy bloomed, and for the first time, children could hold stories in their hands, not just hear them. Books became bridges. Texts were translated from Latin into native tongues. Diagrams, formulas, and drawings could be reproduced with precision. Students could share what they read, exchanging insights and expanding minds.
Long ago, in the year 1657, a wise man named Comenius dreamed of changing how children learned. At the age of 65, he created something extraordinary. Orbis Pictus, the very first picture book for children. But Comenius wanted to be more than just a book. He imagined it as a world of pictures, a magical doorway where young minds could explore and understand the world. Inside its pages, a teacher and a curious child have conversation about everything, from the alphabet and the stars above to the simple things in every life. Through detailed drawings and simple words, Comenius made learning fun and exciting. His book opened the path for education to become something joyful, a journey of discovery that would inspire children for generations to come. In the year 1690, a brilliant philosopher named John Locke introduced an idea that would forever change how people understood knowledge. Known as the father of British empiricism, Locke believed that all knowledge begins with one simple thing: experience. In his famous work, An Essay Concerning Human Understanding, Locke explained that the human mind starts as a blank slate, or tabula rasa. He said that we are not born with ideas. Instead, we gain knowledge through the things we see, hear, and feel in the world around us. According to Locke, our senses collect informations, and from these experiences, our mind forms ideas, first simple, then more complex. His belief shows that understanding does not come from reason alone, but from living, observing, and experiencing the world. This concept of learning through experience continues to shape how we think about knowledge and education even today.
A long, long time ago, between 1740 and 1860s, in small towns across America, there were brave children and grown-ups who dreamed of learning to read and write. But schools weren't always open to everyone. So, on Sundays, when church bells rang, they created their own special classrooms called Sabbath schools. Inside these cozy rooms, families gathered around old wooden tables. Children held pieces of chalk, and elders gently showed them how to make letters and words. Every word they learned felt like a tiny spark of freedom and hope. These Sabbath schools became magical places where learning meant believing in a brighter future. Far away in France in the year 1762, there lived a man named Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He was a thinker, a dreamer, and a lover of nature. Every day, Rousseau liked to walk in the gardens, listen to the birds, and watch the sunlight dance on the river. He often wondered, how do children truly learn? At that time, most schools were very strict. Children sat in rows, memorizing long lessons, and were told to stay quiet and still. But Rousseau had a different idea. He believed that learning should feel like a great adventure, full of joy and discovery. So he wrote a book called Emile, or On Education. In his story, a boy named Emile learned from the world around him, the birds, the trees, and the stars. Rousseau believed that children should be free to explore and discover because learning comes from curiosity and wonder.
In the year 1801, in a quiet village in Switzerland, a kind teacher named Johann Heinrich Pestalozzi sat by his small desk, writing a book that would change the way people thought about education. He called it How Gertrude Teaches Her Children. The book told the story of a mother, Gertrude, who taught her children not just with books, but with love, patience, and real-life experiences. Pestalozzi believed that learning should touch the head, heart, and hands of a child. The mind for thinking, the heart for feeling, and the hands for doing. When people read his book, they began to see that children learn best when they feel safe, cared for, and free to explore. Pestalozzi's idea spread across Europe, inspiring teachers to treat students with kindness and to teach through understanding, not fear. His simple lesson still reminds us today that true education begins with love and respect for every child.
And then, in 1826, a new kind of garden began to grow. Friedrich Froebel, a gentle visionary, believed that children were not empty vessels, but blooming souls. He introduced the idea of kindergarten, a place where learning was rooted in play, music, and movement. He created simple shapes, circles, spheres, and called them gifts. These were not toys, they were tools for discovery. Froebel believed that play was the highest expression of a child's spirit, that through joyful exploration, children could learn, grow, and become. His ideas spread like sunlight, crossing borders and oceans. Kindergartens blossomed across Europe and America, built on love, creativity, and respect for the child's inner world.
Long ago, in 1837, in a small town called Bad Blankenberg in Germany, a man named Frederick Froebel had a wonderful idea. He believed that children were like little flowers. They needed care, love, and the right environment to grow and bloom. So, he opened a special place he called a kindergarten, which means children's garden. In this garden, children didn't just sit and listen. They played, touched, built, and explored. Froebel believed that by using their hands and playing, children could learn better and understand the world around them. His kindergarten was more than just a school. It was a place where children could grow happily and freely. Years later, in 1856, a woman named Margaret Skurz learned about Froebel's ideas while she was in Germany. She loved how his methods encouraged children to learn through play and songs. When she moved to the United States, she wanted to share this idea. So, she opened the very first kindergarten in her own living room in Watertown, Wisconsin. She taught German songs and games to children and soon moved to a bigger place so more children could join. This was the beginning of kindergarten in America. A few years after that, in 1860, Elizabeth Peabody, inspired by Margaret, opened the first English-speaking kindergarten in Boston. She worked with other passionate people who believed that every child, rich or poor, deserved a good start in life. More and more kindergartens began to appear across the country, helping children learn and grow through play, songs, and hands-on activities. And so, from one small classroom in Germany to classrooms across the world, Froebel's dream of a children's garden spread far and wide. This is how the kindergarten we know today began, with love, play, and the belief that every child has the power to bloom.
A long time ago, in a bustling town filled with cotton mills, a kind man named Robert Owen had a remarkable idea. He noticed that many young children who should be playing were instead working in the mills. He imagined a special place for them, a cheerful school where they could learn and have fun. So, Robert Owen built the Institute for the Formation of Character, known simply as their special school. Here, there were no stern teachers or boring lessons. Instead, children sang songs, danced, explored nature, and examined colorful maps. The teachers were kind and believed children learn best when they're happy and engaged. The school welcomed everyone from little toddlers to older kids, filling each day with laughter and adventure. Robert Owen School became famous, showing the world that childhood could be joyful and learning could be as fun as playing in the sun. His idea transformed how schools viewed young children forever.